All right, it's time for the end of the year book tag. This was made by Ariel way long ago. I feel like she wasn't even a booktuber once I joined BookTube. I think she still has a YouTube channel. I don't know. I never watched her, but she made this tag. You can go see it down below if it's still available. I don't know if it's been privated or not. But the prompts will be below if you want to do this. This is a tag that's, it's always called the end of the year book tag, but you should definitely do it around this time of year, if not before now, because it's more seasonally fall. And it's short, and if you used to watch my channel years ago, I'm not prepared for this tag. I'm not. So we're just gonna go for it. Hopefully it works out. Maybe I can point you to videos that go into some of these questions more in depth, because I think I've inadvertently been covering some of these topics. But yeah, number 1, are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? And yes, there's one. And actually, I paused other books earlier this year too, but I've already finished them. So this was the first year where pausing sort of happened. And if you don't know the difference between what people call pauses or DNFs, is like, for me at least, a did not finish DNF is like, I'm never picking this book up again. Like, I guess never say never, but the intention is not to go back. Whereas a pause is like, I'm not feeling this right now. I'll come back to it later. And maybe you start from the beginning, or maybe you start where you left off. And right now, my pause is Long Live Evil. I'll just scooch over, because obviously I'm super prepared for this video. It's very chilly today. I'm very lethargic, but I wanted to film this, so fighting the urge to snuggle in blankets and film. Isn't that just all vibes all the time? Long Live Evil, I thought was a different type of book than it is, which isn't the book's fault. So I paused it because it wasn't bringing me joy, and I am really only consuming things that bring me joy at the moment. That's really where my head's at. But it is like the book I'm reading with a bunch of my friends in real life. And one of them just finished it, and she's like freaking out because I guess it ends on a cliffhanger and we don't get the next book till next year. And she can't talk to us about it because we haven't finished it yet. So I am going to finish it. We don't really have like a set time. We're a very chill group of individuals. I do have the audiobook. Like, I got a credit from Audible or something like that. So I will finish it eventually. And I think, when I try it again, I will go in with a fresher mindset of it's just a meta fantasy thing. I think I like my meta things more visually most of the time, like Galaxy Quest. Super fun. Love that. And I think it's more like something like Galaxy Quest, where it's riffing off a well-known like genre thing, and from the point of view of the side that the story at least perceives as evil. And I hear it maybe takes itself a smidge more seriously come the end, which is fine. Like, I don't need it to take itself super seriously. I was very confused, I feel like. I couldn't quite grasp tonal shifts. So it got paused. And so that's the one I have to finish. I normally don't have an answer for this, so I'm proud of myself. Number 2, do you have an autumnal book to transition to the end of the year? I've already been doing this. Probably my first one that I did read was The Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher, which I highly recommend. I think it's got a really good fantasy, dark, fairy tale horror vibe. That's a really good transition point. Like, it's not actually fall, but I think it can get you in the mood. Now that we are decidedly in fall, I've been reading a lot of spooky things. Like, I just talked about The Only Good Indians, which was like phenomenal, although that takes place in November, I believe, in real world book stuff. I want to read Juniper and Thorn, which feels very autumnal based off cover, and I think it's more gothic, horror, unsettling sort of stuff. But yeah, at least for me this season, I think I kicked it off with Sorceress Comes to Call, and that was a good decision. I also have a whole video of haunted house book recommendations if you're like me and you like an atmospheric haunted time. I think I also transitioned with Haunt Sweet Home by Sarah Pinsker. That was a really good transition for me. It was like 50 degrees outside when I read it. Ideal. Number 3, is there a new release you're still waiting for? Insert, I'm a basic Sanderson fan here. Is there? I recently just finished Rhythm of War, so yes. Yes, there is. Yeah, Winds and Truth. Unsure of the exact article in the middle there. But that comes out like, December 6th? And then the other one I've been screaming about is The Lotus Empire. And that comes out like right before Thanksgiving, I think, in the United States. So yeah, I'm pumped for both of those new releases. I don't know if there's are other ones that are truly on my radar. Like, those are the ones. Actually, no, there is one that I haven't talked about. And honestly, only a very small corner of my internet's going to care about this. But Sue Burke has a new book coming out. Might already be out. Might have come out in October, but it's happening. It's the 3rd book which I didn't even know we were going to get a third book in the Symbiosis sort of trilogy. So there's Symbiosis and Interference, which I read with my patrons. And Symbiosis is like one of my favorite, like, generation jump science fictions, especially from a more deductive lens. Like, if you are sometimes okay with science fiction that's not like very character focused, but you're exploring how a community grows and changes on like a new planet, Symbiosis was really cool. And Interference was also cool. It just wasn't like quite as good for me as Symbiosis, but I'm excited for, I think this is called Interference. No, that was the second one. I don't know what this one's called. I just know it's the third one, and I'm excited for this one. When I saw we had a new Sue Burke this year, and like, I say this, I get really excited about Sue Burke books. I've only read 2. I own another one. I have not read it yet, but I own another one. And then there are others in her backlist that I just haven't gotten to yet. So there you go. That's my one I haven't been screaming about as a lot. But like, probably order of excitement. Ooh. Like, I know it's weird to say, what am I more excited for, Wind of Truth or Lotus Empire? But like, since I'm reading Oleander Sword right now, I think Lotus Empire just because it's sooner for me. Just because I can get my hands on it sooner. The Winds of Truth feels so far away. So, who knows? I mean, they're both endings to very loved series by myself. And obviously I love Stormlight Archive probably more than the Burning Kingdoms. But I'm also just like really nervous about Winds of Truth because like it's just going to be really long, and that's either going to be really worth it or really exhausting, or maybe both. I don't know. All right. What are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? I never know why it's just 3. Like, and I have a lot of like books here and there that I want to read. In particular for series, I've already talked about 2 series, but I have 2 other series I would like to finish. Terra Ignota and Chilling Effect. Those are both science fiction series I would like to read. So those are 2 books. And then I have my like physical TBR books, and I think I would like to read something from that. But I'm like not married to anything. I'm just kind of just like trying to grab books that bring me joy. Maybe I'll try and do another project before the end of the year if I'm feeling it. I have a couple arcs that I just have languishing. Like, I do have like 3 arcs on my TBR card that it would probably be nice if I actually finally read them. And I'll show them here. I've got The West Passage, Dead Gin in Cairo. Is that what it's called? No, that's a different author. This is the Gin Bot of Shantyport. And Into the Light. So those are 3 arcs that I have in physical form that like, it'd probably be nice if I finish them. So any of those, but like I said, I've already done a lot of my projects personally for the year so far, so I'm kind of just in cozy reading what feels good vibes, which feels really nice. Is there a book you think could still shock you and become a favorite book of the year? Yes, for sure. I mean, I'm always ready to be shocked. Like, I don't know how most people do this. When I go into a book, I try really hard not to go into it with an expectation. Not because I think having high or low expectations is good or bad. It's just because I'm usually wrong. Like, for example, with Juniper and Thorn, I've seen a whole gambit of reviews for this. So I'm kind of going into it hoping that I'm going to gel with this writing style and it's just going to immerse me. Like, that's my hope. And that's not a star rating, right? I just want a momentum and immersion and to just be swept away by this really dark story. Now, if that happens, it's probably going to be a 4 or 5 star. And if it doesn't, it's probably going to be like a 3 star. So this could surprise me. The Only Good Indians, I shouldn't have surprised me, but it kind of did. Again, it was another book with a lot of mixed reviews. I still have Wandering Stars by Tommy Orange, which I just picked up. And I don't know if this would surprise me by becoming a favorite. I've really actually loved everything by Tommy Orange. So if we're leaning into the surprise part of this prompt, I wouldn't be surprised by The Lotus Empire or Winds of Truth or Wandering Stars or anything like that. I would be surprised, maybe, by Juniper and Thorn. Maybe. And potentially, I could be surprised by, is it The Good House? I think it's The Good House by Tananarive Due, mainly because I've never read a novel by her. And it's a haunted house book, and like, it could become a favorite. That could happen. But so, I don't know. It's always weird for me because, like, the nebulous, what makes something a favorite is always weird. Because I'm sure other people are out there who's like, this is a favorite book, but I only gave it 4 stars. That's like me and 9 Fox Gambit. Like, make it make sense. All right. And then number 6 is, have you already started making reading plans for next year? And yes, actually, tentatively. Not like big sweeping plans, but with Ben, Grace, and Stephanie, we are, I think, potentially reading The Wolf and that whole trilogy by, I'm seeing the book just said Leo Carew. If unless those plans fall through and we read something. I think we're planning to read a trilogy or a quartet together. And it's either that, it could maybe be Cashil's Dart, but I don't think so. I think we were more leaning towards The Wolf. Regardless, planning on reading a series with friends. And then Jashana, and I'll link her video down below, she's potentially reading a bunch of Michael J. Sullivan next year, who is someone I've been trying to get into more. I gave him a shot around this time last year, and I was just in a weird headspace, and I just lost momentum, and I'm like, I'm just going to come back to this later. And maybe later is next year, because Jashana's doing this really long read-along, and I'm just like, yeah, that sounds fun. I know a bunch of people who've loved varying amounts of his works and things like that, and I think having finished Robin Hobb and stuff like that, I would like to get to that. And since I won't have any Cosmere stuff, because I think we're finally like kind of paused on Cosmere, except for maybe like a secret project or something, I might finally dip my toes back into Malazan. So those are in terms of like big projects, but I haven't really like looked into it too closely. Probably keep reading award winners because I enjoy doing that. I need to go down some rabbit holes and find new books recommendations just because, like, I don't know, I just need to feel like I need to refresh my to-be-read lists and things like that. So that's like a plan, but it's not a plan I've done anything with. So yeah, that's the casual end of the year TBR. What nebulous plans do you have awaiting for you? Are you like me and you're just like, yeah, I'm good. I'm having a good time. I have things I'm excited for. I'm not too stressed about it. Or are you like, I don't know, you have really harsh physical TBR goals and you're stressing. I don't know, where are you on the spectrum? And if you just want to leave an emoji to let me know you're here. Ooh, I do not know. Maybe a rose, because it has thorns, and I brought up juniper and thorns a lot, which is, I know, a stretch, but yeah, I'm vibing with it, so a rose. And otherwise, like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.